I'm going to call to order the Playground Working Group of the Darien Parks and Recreation Commission special meeting agenda for 7:30 p.m. Thursday, November 9th, 2022. The first item on our agenda is to discuss and approve final playground design from Creative Recreation. And I'm going to help with sharing my screen. So it might take me a few minutes, guys, but if you have something specific that you'd like to see, I'll try to flip back and forth quickly. But I guess we could start with any thoughts about, since it's really obvious, it's in our face, is the color of the pour and play.
Well, I'll lead. For me, it should be one color. I think that's my opinion, but if that, per his comments, that the different colors on the pour and play really drive up the cost, then that for me is an easy fix. It's one color, my opinion. But I think, again, I'll reiterate, I believe we need to stay at that 175 number that was given to us for ARPA funds.
My only concern with the darker colors is that it might get hotter. I don't know if you had discussions about that. So the lighter colors, I think, are preferable, especially given the fact we've had complaints about the heat of the darker color where it is right now.
We did talk about the darker in the very beginning. I think I shared my experience with Playground by the Sound, that was one of our concerns. So that's why we went to something that was more of a sandy color. And we didn't have any heat issues, especially at the beach, given what was going on there.
We could have a solid color, but in a lighter color. That would solve that issue.
Yeah, I looked at their catalog real quick, guys, and I saw that, I'm going to pull it up since I'm here. They have, they use the grass, kind of like Summer's thing at Compan. I'm sorry if this, guys, gives you a headache from looking at it. Sorry. I had it all figured out which page it was. It was on 57. You guys probably can't get to it, but I'll show you. But there's like a light kind of almost beigeish color that I thought was close to a lighter solid color that we could do. And I feel like it doesn't fight with whatever color we choose on top as much, because I think that's a big concern too, is when there's too many colors, it starts to get overwhelming. So this, I just saw this. I mean, this is not exactly, but you could see there's two shades right here. Can you see it, guys? I'm sorry. Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, you do see it? Okay, cool. Sorry.
Yeah, we see.
But do you see what I'm talking about with these two?
Yeah. And then it doesn't fight it. Yep.
You see it just kind of, I don't know if the border makes it less, kind of looks cool too, because I feel like the borders might get a lot of wear and tear coming in and out, but I don't know. It's worth, and then I guess I saw a picture of the grass when I was going to show you guys. Oh, maybe that was it. Sorry. You could, oh no, this is just the pour and play in like a green tone. Do you see that right there? Where it's kind of like under, that's the pour and play also. And that looks like a lighter green. And then I also saw somewhere else, thought I saw that where he had like the grass that looked like Summer's design. It was in the beginning. Sorry if I'm flipping. Oh, there you go. You could see it a little bit on this picture. It looks like the grass right here. Do you see it there? So that would be more natural. And then I think his color now is probably more about what this looks like, I'm guessing, which doesn't look as dark as did on his design, maybe. So maybe there's ways to kind of change up the shading. It could be, oh, here it goes, the grass again, the fake grass. And it's interesting because they have real grass right next to it. I don't know if you could see the border.
I think that's a nice look.
The fake grass?
Yeah, I like it.
I agree. It looks less like a moonscape.
Is that
Yeah.
separate from pour and play?
It's a different option than pour and play, I guess. And it's supposedly ADA compliant from what we talked to Summer about. Summer seemed to think that it was comparable maybe, but we'd have to check with John on that. But it looks pretty good.
It looks great. I'm worried about introducing something now at this stage, but again, we don't,
Well-
we don't have to pull the trigger. I mean, we can commit and say to him, listen, we're going to do pour and play. We just haven't figured out the color. I just want to make sure that that so-called grass looking surface is the same price as what's listed here for the certified rubber surface under playground at at that cost.
Right.
Because
I wonder if we can't get that the one that looks like grass, like kind of like what the turf fields look like. If we like the way the green tones look on the pour and play, that's another option.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
but
I agree.
they're more neutral.
yeah.
I wasn't on the call last meeting, so I apologize, but I wanted to second with Patty saying that I like the idea of a single color, and I wasn't aware of the price difference with the two. So if that is also a concern, my vote was when I was just looking at the two anyway. The color palette, for me personally, I think it gets a little busy when there's a lot of color on the ground level. So I was voting for a single color as well, but my concern was also the heat. So I think that would, if we could find that lighter tone or that grass option, but I wanted to second that suggestion of a single color.
Yeah, I agree too. I actually had gone onto the website, the Creative Recreation website, and had pulled up a lot of the similar things that we were talking about because I just couldn't wrap my head around all those bright colors that he was doing that completely clashed with all of the I couldn't stop. It kept bothering me every time I would look at the photos. It was like aesthetically, it was like making me twitch.
Any other thoughts? And if we do single color, if we can't do the turf, which is green, what would you think about? It looks like there's a beige on the one that we currently are looking at. Can you see it, guys? That's in the middle here. So there's a beige, and then we could look at a green tone. But what do you think how that looks just with this gray design? Just out of curiosity, the blue and gray design, since that's already up. I'm not saying that's the design we choose, but is it a good base, you think?
I think a neutral like that should be fine. Would we be able to maybe get a sample and see what the turf looks like in these colors before we commit to a color? Will that take too long, do we think?
I bet you we could get I don't know if it's the actual item, but it's like a paint sample. They could probably either mail us something that's close to the color that we can kind of figure out.
Yeah, I mean, if it's even necessary.
I'm sure if the nice thing about the pour and play is that it's so into the future. Like that piece is last. It's just, he doesn't even need to order it like today because that's probably later.
Yep.
It's really the playground equipment. I just picked that as the first thing we talked about because that was so easy. That's low lying and we get through it quickly.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to see so it seems like single color is the winner. And turf, is that first choice? The artificial turf, if it's the same price, or the green turf? Is that what I'm hearing? I just want to make sure.
I would
And once again,
green
can I just
turf
ask?
versus green color. I'd need to know more on the turf. I really would. Like, does it affect runoff? Like, does it clean as well as turf? That kind of thing. I like the look, but I would just want to really understand the difference, which I think those are simple questions for him.
And turf absorbs heat. So depending on the type of turf you have, so we want to make sure, since there's not much shade there too, it's not a turf that absorbs heat and gives off those sort of types of it's a type of sort of black tar can come off on it too. It isn't too healthy for kids.
Yeah, and Kathy, you're spot on. Like I always say, I told Susan when her son was graduating last year at DHS, don't sit for graduation for 2.5 hours on the turf. So all you guys with little kids, make sure you sit, in the shade because it gets 20 degrees hotter down there. So, that's specific AstroTurf for a playing field, but I just would want to know more if that's the same kind of turf we're talking about. And if that's the case, I'm not sure I'd be comfortable with that. I'd rather just have one single color with whatever we think works best with the playground, my opinion.
Okay, that's fine. So why don't I have a feeling that turf stuff that was in is more expensive, to be honest with you. I think Summer kind of alluded to it. She said it was the same, but I have a feeling it's more. So I think that would kind of take it out of the running since we're already kind of tight at budget. So if that's the case, just because I want to get through and go to the final color choices and panels, what do people think about the beige versus if we did a green, like I showed you, I think here, let me see if I can find it again. Like, which there was a green that was kind of light that, oh, maybe that was it.
You had a green that was against a play structure that had
Yeah.
some green in it too, that I thought
Yeah,
was
this one. Yeah, this was the one. Can you see it? I'm going to make it bigger, hopefully. I'm really new to this whole playground, thing. Can you see that? Do you see how it's close to that?
yeah.
So,
Does anybody know how to see the shared screen if you're doing this on your phone?
oh, I'm sorry. Is it not showing up on your phone?
For
I'm sorry.
some reason it's not, but it could just be me that I just don't have the settings right. So I was just wondering if anybody happens to know.
If you have the catalog on your somewhere on a link that you could look at quickly, it's on the catalog page 50 to
Okay.
51.
Melissa, I
Uh,
just took a picture of it and I'm going to send it to you.
Ah, perfect.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm gonna get rid of that. Okay, so just like get a sense, like we could fine tune it, but which way are we leaning? Like more the beige or the greens, you think? I guess, or we could talk about it now that we know we're doing single surface. After we talk about the final color, maybe we should do that first, actually.
I think it should depend on the final color.
Okay, let's do that right now. So this is the blue gray configuration. Let's talk about color first before we talk about panels. Any thoughts on blue gray? And then I'm going to try to get the other one out in front. Well, maybe I could do a split screen. That would be even awesome. Let me see if I can do this. Trying to get my game up for this.
While you're
I'm not as tech savvy. I didn't realize I was going to be doing this, so I'm kind of like a little baby. Oh, here it is.
Susan, I'm just going to ask why you're
Can you see
doing
it?
this. Were most people able to print them out and see them as well? So you can have them in front of you? Or
Okay,
not
so
so much?
can you see the two? Oh God, I'm trying to get rid of this other screen.
That's why I'm doing it on my phone. So I have it separately on my computer
So you
screen.
see,
Yeah, we
it's
can
pretty
see them.
similar, except he threw in what he calls chartreuse, which is a really cool color. What do you guys think?
So right now I only see the almost navy color. on
Oh,
the
maybe,
screen.
is it? I wonder if I'm doing this wrong.
I
I'm
see
sorry.
them. I see them
I can
both.
see it.
I can see
Okay,
both.
sorry. Let me try to get it back up.
Yeah, both.
Does that help?
Well,
I could put it
thought
up
we
front
only
for them.
rolled out the multicolor.
Say it again, Curtis, honey. I can hear you.
I thought
What'd you
we
say?
had already ruled out the multicolor.
So what happened, Curtis, between this meeting, like the last meeting and this one, is that there was some comments that thought that our color looked not very vibrant. And so John was asked to come back with some like something with some yellows or some bright colors for the kids. So that's why we have two options tonight to look at.
Okay, I thought the one that's showing up on my left here with the sand background with the purple and navy and gray and
Yeah.
the aqua. I thought that one was already ruled out this evening, that it was just too much going on.
Oh, you're talking about the surface, Curtis. She's just talking about the play set itself.
I'm talking
The
about,
one
yeah,
on
the
the left
structure
is
itself.
blue and gray. The one on the right is blue, gray, and chartreuse, which I
My
guess is a
apologies,
kind
I
of
misunderstood. Okay.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. So yeah, so we're just looking at the structures, and it's the one on the left has the blue, the gray, and the darker gray. I don't know if everybody can see that clearly. You can see on the slide. And then the one on the right has the blue, the light gray, the chartreuse, and it looks like the dark gray again, and then blue. So there's definitely a mix of color there. Let me see if I can get the same view, so that might help people.
Do we
Yeah,
know
I
how
can
that
see it
chartreuse
now.
will do with like the sun?
Here,
Like, will it
is
fade
this-
and
this-
become a different version?
There it is. Sorry, say it again.
Do we know how that chartreuse will hold up with the sun? Like, is it gonna keep that bright, vibrant color? Or will it, do we know anything about that was my only thing with the concern with that color, if it was gonna fade a little bit.
he
I
didn't.
think it's safe to say that after many, many years in the sun, all the colors will slightly fade.
Okay.
Somebody define, I'm Googling right now, chartreuse. Is it a combination of yellow and green?
I think so. I think that's the good description of it. It looks a little brighter than that, though, to me. It almost looks like high-vis green to me, but that's on my screen, so it could be dependent on other people's screens.
So then I
Um,
guess the only concern for me would be there's yellow. Remember we talked about there's blue backboards at the baseball, the dugouts, and then there is yellow going around kind of the top of the fences. Some of the foam area is yellow. So I don't know if the yellow and the chartreuse would compete with each other. I am no fashion designer, but I'm just throwing that out.
Just to go back to that, I remember when I took the pictures, you guys probably haven't pulled it up, but in front of that yellow stuff is a bunch of bushes, and they cover pretty well, honestly. So the only thing that you see on the playground is the tall piece, like anything above the bushes, and the bushes are about 10 feet tall. So then above that, you would see the other pieces.
Yeah, I'm talking about from the back though, Susan. If you pull into the parking lot and you park right in front of the playground and you look at the Challenger field, there's yellow kind of all around there. So
yeah, it borders the fence to show where it ends, so that people don't hit themselves on those pieces. I'm just gonna take a quick look at the pictures because I think I have them right in my phone, and if I could get back to that. But so I guess what you're saying, Patty, is that you don't, if it clashes, you don't like that color.
again, I am not the fashion expertise. I was trying to add a little color because I thought the blue and the gray were just a little plain, I guess, versus vibrant. And so I think when I saw this design and it wasn't yellow and it was kind of that greeny yellow, I was a little bit like, oh, okay. But that's
Pam, did we ask him for yellow, or did he just decide that this was the color that goes with the blue and gray?
I believe we did say yellow.
We
If my
said yellow.
mind, I believe so. Just adding a little bit of yellow in there. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
this looks like
Because-
highlighter yellow.
Yeah, this is a different type of yellow. That's right. And I wonder if he put that there because that was the only like option that he could put in there, or was that his like design choice himself? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, not sure about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. It's not super clear.
Pam,
But
do
we
you
could-
have the original green blue one that he first showed us? And then we were asking, somebody had said, can we look at some alternates? Because we weren't sure if that was going to be too bright for the neighbors. But it's funny, I kind of went back and looked at it more and I'm a little afraid the chartreuse might be more jarring than just the blue and the green. And then it made me think, how would that look against the green surface? Would it really complement it? You have that original one you could share?
I'm trying to do that now. Sorry.
Okay.
It's like so hard to my computer. I'm using a laptop, so it's not as easy as. Let me see what I got. Oh, geez, did I lose my screen? Oh, here it is, Google. Sorry about that, guys. I told you I wasn't really good at this.
You're doing great.
You're
Creative
talking about the colors that his original design when he had the ramp.
Yes.
I do believe I have that on my desktop. But let me see.
No, that's the different one. I'm just talking to myself.
If you guys go to page 192 on the catalog, it shows you the colors that you can do.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
This was the
And it
color.
shows the chartreuse. It's definitely more of like a lime green.
Yeah.
There's
You
yellow,
guys see this?
the green, there's a forest green, there's a lime. Like it's definitely one of the brighter colors. The rest are pretty muted. Like there's purples, there's a burgundy. I mean,
It's
So
everything.
Yeah, so if we were to
Is
look
this
at
the
this
color
first
this is
original-
the original design, Patty,
Yeah.
that you're talking
And
about,
so
right?
what I just want to throw out to the group was if we were to look at this first original design that he as an expert recommended, but we also had all the distraction of the purples and the yellows and the blues and the whatever you call it, sand color. If we looked at this design for color and then had one flat surface for whatever we think complements it, maybe it's the sand color because there's sand kind of neutral color going down there. Is that feels to me more appealing than the chartreuse.
I agree.
And I'm guessing by extension, you think that the blue and gray is too blah. I'm just, and not enough color for the
I did, but
playground.
this is everyone's discussion,
Yeah,
so.
no, I meant, just because.
Just me, I was talking through with a lot of nannies that were there that I went back several times, and they said, swings, slides, monkey bars, climbing things, and they talked about the kids are drawn to vibrant colors. Because I had said, it's it's brown and kind of a light green or a greenish now to blend in kind of with the woods and the neighbors. But I also I even went back there again yesterday and there's no neighbor facing it from any side. And the closest neighbor has the back to it and they're on west and they're kind of shaded by trees too. So I guess I was a little less concerned about having some color there than I might in another playground where houses might be facing it. But again, please everybody kick in with their color.
I'm looking at the original one, and I have to say, I feel like the gray is very blah. And looking back at this original one with the blue and the green and the beige, I think if we did it with a solid color, either the green turf or the beigey turf, because when you're looking at all the panels bring in a lot of additional color.
Mhm.
So if we were to keep the basic structure within that beige, green, blue, and the blue will kind of tie in with, the Darien, the color with the baseball field, and then with the single color, I feel like there's enough vibrancy in all of those panels to bring in some other colors to make it interesting. So like the background palette of the structure doesn't have to be too crazy. But that's just what I think.
I agree with Alyssa, and I think that because you could see the tan where the contrast is with like the green slide and the different things, I think that the tan would complement the the color palette. It's not a fourth color being introduced, as if we went with the other design.
Yeah, the only thing I just would want to see is the color tan of the plastic and the color green of the plastic next to the color tan and the color green of the pour and play, just so we could see how those colors would look right next to one another to make sure they're not really fighting. It wouldn't visually, be annoying.
Agreed.
I think, Susan, you had one. If you can go, I think if you go
Oh, yeah,
back,
sure. I'm happy to go back. Hold on.
there
Sorry.
is one that shows like where the slide and stuff ends onto that, because that was the same color tan we would use
Okay.
if we went with the tan.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get it bigger. Sorry. Is it this one?
Well, is that the tan that if we look for or that darker color that you were showing us before? Because it kind of just shows, that you could see the steps are the tan and the sand and the flooring is
Yeah.
a little. Like,
Yeah,
I think
right there, maybe?
I think
Can
it
you see
works
it better? I'm sorry if you can't. I'm trying to, oh, wait, here it is, full screen. Sorry about that. It's interesting because I think from looking at this and remembering it from the playground is that this is speckled. So it's like shades. Like it's not pure like here's a beige. There's varying shades. There's darker speckles in it. I don't know if you could see that. But I agree. What we can do is if if everybody overall likes the way this looks, this color way that we're the original one, let's say, we could have John then come back to us maybe either with a sample or something that shows us the color, how it would look against each other so that it's not, like clashing. I think with beige, it's more forgiving than chartreuse, obviously. So I think we could work with this, and this is very blended. You can see the speckling. And at first, I was a little nervous about picking a lighter surfacing, but I think it helps for the heat. But I think that's imperfection, that speckling makes it harder to see imperfections, like if there's a dirt on it, you know, and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
here, I don't know if this helps everybody get more looks at it. I mean, this is like not even the real color because this is just like his computer generated like option. Like in real life, it might even look different. Do you know what I mean? And maybe he could like bring samples or take pictures of what it actually looks like. I
So
Or
think
even
Susan,
or tell us, Pam, if there's a playground, within 40 miles, and some of us can go up and look at it. If he's got that, happy to do that and take photos if that's a
well,
quicker
what I
way.
wanted to add is that I did have a conversation with him yesterday, and every week it's been changing in terms of the equipment getting held up, as we were worried about. So I said to him, if we were to order next week, then we'd be locked in pretty much for June. But if we keep waiting, it's going to get later and later.
Well,
Just want to throw
this is
that out
a
there.
separate item then. So if we lock into the items we're using tonight, the color scheme and the items we're using tonight, and then that gives us a little time to check out the surface that would match it or not.
I agree.
But it's a separate thing, so I think we should be able to do it separately.
Okay.
I'm okay with
Just
that, Patty. I think I don't think we're not wedded to that straight off the bat. I mean, for this decision, I think. Here, oops, I tried to keep it
Yeah, and
together.
Pam, thank you you're keeping us on the timeline. We want to we want to lock in 2022 rates. We were conscious of supply chain issues and shipping and things like that. So, thank you for scheduling this meeting and moving us forward.
I mean, I'm okay with this older color scheme. And I mean, it sounds like the rest of the group is, right?
Do you want to take a poll, Susan? So it doesn't.
Yeah, yeah, we could. Do you guys want to do that? Do we have any? Let's see where I got to get back to the screen where I can see people now. Sorry.
I guess
Has
has
Okay, go ahead, Curtis.
has the surface color already been decided?
I guess what we're talking about is just the top, the main structure first, and then I think people said they wanted to circle back to the pour and play, but we might hold off on that until we get actual samples from John, because
Okay.
I think right now it's
I guess I was just going to weigh in favor of a green surface, because when I try to imagine that beige across the entire surface, it just strikes me as fairly barren,
oh, here you are.
almost like dirt.
Okay.
Whereas a green, like a green lawn, is just brighter and more cheerful. That's just one point of view.
So that's why we're going to try and get like sample colors or have them tell us where there is a green and a beige somewhere. And so if we can lock in on the equipment itself, then that gives us a little time for the pour and play. It's almost like if you're doing the basketball court or the tennis court, you're doing all the surfacing first. The fencing often comes in later. So it gives us a little time to, make decisions on with the fencing company. So.
Okay. Thank you.
I believe our pour and play at Weed Beach is beigey.
Yeah, it is. It is beige.
Yeah,
I
like
know
the
it is
beach.
because we picked it out.
It's like
but-
sand.
But that's not quite as much of it as it would be here, Curtis. So you have a
Right.
good point, by the way. It's actually only on parts of it because the rest is sand. And, because we obviously didn't have a lot of money when we did that. But that was a $250,000 project, the playground. And so we only did a small part of it. And a larger surface might be different, like you said, and it might look different and feel different. So why don't we definitely just focus on this piece and get samples of, if we could do the turf, if we could do a green color, let's look at all those options, maybe at a later date when John can get us some samples or some ideas. Is that okay?
Sounds great.
Because
Does
I
that
want to
work?
also
Is that
move
okay?
us
Will John
towards,
be fine with that?
huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I just want to make sure, can we go back to the design of the playground? Because it looks like he changed some of the panels, and I want to make sure that he took care of what we discussed in terms of, I know it's distracting because it's not the actual color we're going to go with, but I want you guys to look at like the panels that were put in and things like that. And I could try to move all the pictures I can in and out to help with that. So it's not about color, it's just making sure that he hit all the panels that we discussed. This is one picture. The spinners here. It looks like there was that maze thing is here, right? Let's see. Is this the drum? I see the lemonade stand back here. Do you guys see it? I'm going to move another picture to see if I can hit. Yeah. So this is
I
the
have a
lemonade
quick
stand.
question on the lemonade stand. Ruth, you're muted, and maybe you're about to say that. I got the impression you were talking about the lemonade stand going underneath.
I
the
think
tall-
they have it under. I could see the little boy under the platform.
So what's
No,
the
the
table behind it to the left?
No, the lemonade stand is on the very corner outside of the playscape because it was too tall to fit under.
Oh, okay. So it's just the table that's underneath the tall structure.
Correct.
Do you mamas want to weigh in on having a lemonade stand hanging out to the left? Does that?
Where is the email? I never got anything with the replacement panels. Which one, where did that come from? Was that from Pam or was that the one from Tamara? I didn't see that, sorry.
I don't know if we got what was there. We talked about it in a meeting. We gave it to John, and then they're supposed to be incorporated into these designs that we're looking at tonight. That's
I'm
my
not sure they're
understanding.
incorporated. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
And-
think we got an email. We just got the one that was showing what they currently had in there so that we can tell him, like, I know I suggested that having the tic-tac-toe one because I know that's
Yeah.
always a fan for most ages. In the drums, it looks like the drums, it was still there, but I didn't know what that circle, the 3 circle was that was on the other side of the slide.
I'll try to get to it. Hold on, so that you can be. I saw that too, and I was trying to figure that out. Pam, do you know what this is right here? It's under the big slide, the tower, and it's like it looks like a whitish, dark gray, and a beige thing.
I don't.
Protrudes out. So, did John say that? I know he's been working hard for us, and switching things out, and it's been very, very onerous. But I think, we just want to make sure that it's.
It might be the mirrors because if you're on the lower deck, there might be mirrors looking out or like a tunnel and mirrors out of those.
Let me see if I could get another, maybe, not this one. Let me go back to the other. Maybe it's in the other option. Maybe there's more pictures. Let me double check.
I didn't see the baseball one, and I know that Ruth and others felt that capping, that worked.
That was fun.
We have one already there, so we should continue to have one there. And it could be the one that's there now that's baseball is like a tic-tac-toe, but you're matching bat, ball, ball.
I think, Susan, also you found one where it was baseball panels where you kind of
Yeah.
swapped them.
I thought we presented those to John, but I'm not. Pam, was that?
We did.
Okay, so we just go back, Pam, and say this, we want to make sure
Let me
that
see
that's
what's
included in something else. I almost feel like we need a list of 5 things to show us a picture with the 5 panels, almost, right? Like
Okay.
on one sheet.
So I see the tic-tac-toe. I see this. This is the height one, the drums, shapes. Let me see if I see another picture.
What's the circle and the,
Which one?
Square.
You want me to go back?
yeah, one
This one?
second.
These?
Yeah, the circle and the square. Somebody had said, I think Sarah, you had said, is that a sensory thing? That's kind of cool. Maybe for a second for a kid, will they get bored? You'd said that at the last meeting, right? But it doesn't matter to me. You guys are in charge of the panels.
You know what?
Sorry,
It's interesting.
Which one are you
I
guys on?
could,
Purple and blue
this one,
square.
right here. Can you see it? It's
Yeah,
interesting.
there-
I think
Good.
this is more music, I think. You could tell it looks like drums again, by the way, doesn't it?
Drums are down below, but what's above it?
No,
Looks
you're
like
right.
sensory, like felt, I
It
think.
does
It's
look
like
good.
fabric.
Pardon?
I think it's fabric.
It
What?
looks like fabric or maybe mirrors, the way
This
they
one?
kind of play with it.
Hmm.
The one in the
Yeah,
middle,
we'll just have to, we're gonna need to get more clarity on that from John. Because this is like, we're not able to really get a good sense of what the panels look like. And I was hoping we would be able to see that. And it just doesn't, really come through.
I'll have him send us a list of all the panels on
Right.
this current playscape.
But
Okay.
can you make sure he addresses the ones that this group said at our last meeting that they wanted? Remember, throw out the one that was the eagle or whatever, and instead include, my notes aren't right in front of me.
Yeah,
from
that's
that
what he was
one.
supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I know we're
Um,
asking for throwing stuff at him at the last minute, but if we want to clean it up.
Can we talk a little bit real quick about this lemonade stand that's standing out there now? How people feel about that? If it
Sorry,
doesn't fit under the structure, do we still want the lemonade stand? That's my question.
where is it exactly? I pulled up one of the, I'm
It's
looking at,
basically off in a corner by itself, kind of. It looks like it's floating,
oh,
and
oh, that's,
I'll send
it
to
looks
you.
a little awkward to me
it looks
personally.
very awkward.
Yeah.
And if he has the space for that there, can we instead ask him to put this? Patty has mentioned several times that people want those cup spinners, the saucer spinners, or whatever they call them. Pam, why don't we put it there? Because it obviously has a lot of clearance there if it's got kids around it. Do you think
Sure.
that could work?
Yes.
Take out the lemonade stand, put in the spinner, the cup spinner, so that now we have 3 spinning elements on the playground, which it sounds like you can never have too many.
Sorry, wait, did
Sure.
you say get rid of the lemonade stand?
Remove the lemonade stand and put
Oh,
the
completely?
the saucer, because it's now sitting there, and I don't know if it,
Yeah.
I think when it was under a structure, it looked more organic and kind of fit, but now it's
Okay.
kind of like,
Yeah,
in
I
the
think that's
corner.
the idea, replace
And-
another panel with the lemonade stand on the structure. On the
But
structure,
Yeah.
I guess what his point was, Alyssa, was that he couldn't because the height
the size.
wasn't enough.
Yeah, that's understandable. That's
If
okay.
that's the case, I'm okay with, that's another element that we wanted to have on the playground. So I wanted to see if we could put it there instead.
I agree.
Does that
I
make,
think that's a
you know?
good use of the space.
I mean, I would love to have the lemonade stand, but if we can't have it in a place that makes sense, then
No,
let's
and then
scrap it.
it looks silly.
It does, doesn't it? It looks like it's
Yeah.
off to the corner, and it just
Yeah.
doesn't look
No.
like kids are going to be like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, it just looks like
Yeah.
strange.
No, the whole
Not making any money
point
off
I
of
thought
it.
was that they could be underneath a structure and have a little area that they could be looking out through the lemonade stand. But if it's not part of the structure itself where they're underneath it, it doesn't really suit the
Work.
purpose.
Yeah, no, I know what you were going for, so that's why I didn't, when I saw that, I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's remove that. What do people think about that and making it a cup saucer, or a cup spinner, or whatever they call them, saucer spinners? The ones that we have at Cherry Lawn.
Yeah, I love it. I think people, that in our focus groups, people love that.
Okay.
Pam, I
Let's-
want to thank you for having him add in the monkey bars. If you look closely, you can see it. That was Ruth's suggestion. Because she was like swings, slides, monkey bars, and some climbing things for popular items. So can y'all see where they are?
Yeah, they
It's-
look
Can you see
great.
from this picture, guys?
Yeah, and it's right off the structure, so it's not a separate climbing unit where it had to take up a lot more space. It just comes right off of it,
You can
like-
kind of see the girl here doing it, which is great. Yeah.
like it is in the existing one where it's off the play structure. So that's great.
That looks great. I think it's a great ad, for
Thank you.
sure.
Pam,
Nice.
The one thing I would like to be clear on with him is making that change. Is that driving the cost up? Because you had said that he had said, no, that'll fit. And so again, seeing that 189 kind of made me go, nope. So I don't know if that's because of the changes we made by adding monkey bars or 1 or 2 other things, or if it was because of the multicolored surface.
Yes, I'll have him clarify.
Thank you.
Okay, so that sounds great. I mean, it sounds like we have done as much as we can tonight, unless anybody has any more additions.
Sorry.
Just to recap, we've chosen to go with the old color scheme that he originally presented. We would like John to present some options that are in maybe the lighter beige or green ish, maybe even turf if that's an option. Just and to make sure that it's not the turf that releases all those black speckles and isn't really a great surface, it seems. The other thing we talked about was taking out the lemonade stand and putting in the cup saucer. We also talked about getting a list of all the panels, and if possible, if you could just note where they're going to be placed on each structure so that we have a good idea about where they would be. What else? Did I miss something? And the pricing, obviously, Patty's mentioned it a couple of times. The pricing is important to make sure that we're still within budget for the new equipment. That the removal will be covered by a donation at a separate cost. Thanks to our first select woman for getting that donation.
Did we ever finalize what the Lions Club was going to donate?
I haven't met with them yet, and certainly need to verify whether or not the structure will fit right on the outside of the rubber surface. So we have a little bit of time on that. I think this is more important to get this playscape ordered and get these questions. So I'm in lieu of what you just said, Susan, I'm kind of marking down everything. So I'm just going to go over my list. Remove the lemonade stand, add bucket spinner instead, add baseball tic-tac-toe, send list of all panels on new design and where they are on each structure, clarify what drove costs up to $189. The group chose the original color scheme, and we're looking to do a lighter beige, green, or turf, one color surface.
And I would just say, perhaps like we're doing that original design now, you know, what does he think complements that design, that base of pour and play? What base of color of pour and play complements that the most, that also is more heat resistant?
Sorry. Can I just?
Pam, how quickly can you get responses so you can stay within your timeline?
He did this one pretty quick, and I think these questions we're asking, in my opinion, he can get to us definitely by Monday, and then we're still in next week. So, he may surprise us and get it to us by Friday, which I think is probably achievable.
Okay. And when do you need to order by June?
He said if we order next week, then a delivery in June looks very good. But May's out of the picture now. It would have been in the picture last week. It's out of the picture now.
I never thought it by May.
Well, that's also a guesstimate, even June. Like, honestly, there's no promises for any of this stuff. So I think the answer is the sooner we can get everything decided and locked down, the faster it's in the system, and then he can give us a better idea of the timeline. Because until things are ordered, like, you don't have anything, you're not in the queue, so they won't know until you try to get in the queue where you fit. So I'd like to lean towards just moving forward with this, and I'm not sure if we need. I mean, we could email the group, but I think at a certain point, like the stuff we're dealing with now is, you know, getting pretty fine-tuned and locked down. So if we could just make sure that the panels we talked about, that we all agreed upon, are in this new design with the surfacing to be decided, I think we can move pretty quickly, Pam.
Yes.
But if we start like trying to get everybody on board and do another meeting, it might be more challenging. See? So
I will email him all these changes and questions tonight.
Okay. And hopefully if you can get back to us, then we can just send it out to the group and say that we need to just turn this around. Like, you know, and if people get to it as soon as they see it, that would be very helpful. And let's get this one ordered, because we still have 2 more playgrounds to go forward with. And with the holidays rolling up, you know, we need to get organized. And try to figure out what the next piece is that we need to focus on, right? Because hopefully this will be in production soon, right, for us?
Absolutely.
But is there any other thoughts of, if anybody else want to chime in about any other thing that they're thinking about for this?
Sarah has her hand
playground in
up.
Yeah,
particular?
sorry. Hi. Sorry. The slide, I mentioned this last time, the kind that he has in there, the kind that's multiple pieces, it hurts. Kids do not like going down those at all. Like they're bumps. You're basically just going down bumps every time you get to a new section. So I had asked him, I think, like, can we just change it to a solid piece? I don't know if that drives the cost, but even the little one at Cherry Lawn hurts. Like my kid literally says, ow, when he goes down it. Just-
I think the feedback we got was that it was more costly to do that having it like the
Do a
separate
solid?
pieces, it's not a color thing, it's
Yeah.
it's like having little blocks that are cheaper versus you're
I
producing
don't
one
think so,
solid.
actually.
I know.
I'm
I
gonna,
just
That's
said
what he
I
told
have
us
a
that,
slide
yeah.
that's not comfortable.
okay,
kind of see
I guess I'm forgetting that, Susan.
But I would again circle back to him. Maybe he has a different thought. But I remember this in my head because I remember thinking, why would he do that then? And I think it was because separate piece plastics are easier to mold than one big piece of plastic and cheaper as a result because it's different types of molds. And they could do Chock-a-Block, a bunch of them and connect them. But let's ask him, Pam, because it never hurts to
Right,
ask.
because it still could be a straight slide in those pieces rather than the curvy.
Yeah,
where
it's just
there-
actually, it's literally a bump. Every section is a bump that you hit when you go down. It's
So
not
Sarah,
comfortable.
if it was straight with those bumps, you're saying it wouldn't hurt, or is it because
Still
of the
hurts.
curve?
It's because it's
all hurts.
individual pieces. I'm telling you, like, try to go down to Cherry Lawn. You won't want to do it again. It's not comfortable.
It's funny because I don't know if one of the most popular things that we were told when we were doing the playground, this is a long time ago, is you know how we have that roller slide?
Totally
at
different
Cherry
feel.
Lawn. Yeah, no, it's
Totally
funny.
different.
But
Kids love that one.
it's
It's
funny how
smoother.
they love multiple fast bumps, but it's a different
Yep.
type of bump, like you were just
Totally
mentioning.
different bump. Yep.
So,
It just,
but it's
yeah.
good feedback. Let's see what John says, and if we could do it as a solid piece, I would like to do it more comfortably and figure it out. I don't know what the other option is, if not, and what the cost difference would be. Okay.
Okay,
Thanks, Sarah. That was great. Thank you. Any other thoughts before we kind of fine tune, because it looks like people are still up.
Hey,
And we
Curtis, are you good with the swings?
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's hard for me to see, but I'm assuming there's an adaptive swing on there. But
Yes, that's the one that's the second one over.
yeah,
So the
I'm
first one's a bucket swing, second one's do you call it an adaptable swing? Is that what you're calling it?
adaptive swing. Yeah,
Adaptive swing. And then the next two are your like your belt swings.
awesome.
Great. And then on the, Susan, I like how you recap that we will now, as a result, have 3 things that spin. Because Curtis, I remember you saying one of the things, and Ruth, you confirmed that from your business. The kids with special needs,
Vestibular benefit.
they like the speed, they feel it, right? The movement is good. So that adds to our emphasis of this being a, special ADA compliant playground. And we're good on the bigger spinner, right? We felt like that was close enough to the ground. It was separate from what went on it. What's at Tokenique? John didn't have any complaints. And some of the parents who had concerns at Tokenique said their kids got right back on and had fun, which would be my kids. Ow, and then jump right back on. But I'm just checking on that with you guys. Yeah.
All looks
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds good.
So, okay, we already talked about placing the order kind of in our conversation just now with Pam. I think that's basically it. Like, we're just gonna have to make that sprint to the end so that we can get this ordered. But as always, you guys always make me amazed at how much information you are able to kind of input during these meetings and really make it so meaningful. And I really appreciate it. I come from different backgrounds, different input, and it never ceases to amaze me. So thank you very much for your time, especially in the evening now. Let's get Pam hopefully to get some stuff back to us towards hopefully this and before the end of the week, and then let's make a plan to order next week. Okay. Sounds good. And then we'll just circle back about the colors for the playground. Don't worry about that. That'll all work itself out. That's easy. That's the easy part. I think you guys have done the hardest part, which is the panels, the features of the playground and the colors. So thank you
Thanks for
very
your
much.
leadership, Susan. You've done a great job. And Pam for bringing all the 3 great vendors to us.
Agreed.
If
Agreed.
only
Great,
every
thanks,
town
everybody.
could do a playground.
Okay, guys. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Have a
Thank you.
great night. Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Thank you.
Great meeting. Good night.